Hi everyone, good morning. Thanks for the introduction. So you all know me, I'm Siddharth. I head the Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning for Standard Chartered Bank. My role in the existing organization is to see how we can push the boundaries in terms of how we imagine banking and financial services as a whole. So in the next 15-20 minutes, what I'm going to discuss is the recent advancements that are happening in machine learning and how can we adopt that for banking and financial services. So in today's topic, we are going to discuss in terms of what are the new advancements that we are seeing in the AI industry. In the last 4-5 years, there's a lot of revolution happened in terms of AI, and we were pushing boundaries in terms of moving away from traditional propensity models to implementing complex solutions with the help of AI, things like intelligent document processing. And with the advancements of generative AI, now we are looking at in terms of how we can use generative models for improving productivity, improving efficiency, and also in some of the areas we are looking at how we can use generative AI as a co-pilot. But today what I'm going to talk to you about is some of the advancements that are happening in AI industry, which is going to revolutionize the way we look at AI landscape over the next half a decade or a decade. So this particular technology is at the beginning of the Gartner hype cycle. So as we progress forward, I think this will hit the peak, and the burst that we are seeing in ChatGPT's kind of models, you will soon see in this upcoming technology. So today what we are going to look at is AI agents. So as you all know, with the outburst of LLMs and with the outburst of generative models, there are concepts around agents. How can we make use of generative algorithm to be an agent, and how can we solve some of the complex problems? To start with, what is an AI agent, right? So if you look at the definition of AI agent, which is widely accepted in the industry, is AI agent is a highly efficient, intelligent virtual assistant. I think this phrase can give you a sense in terms of what we are talking about AI agents. All this while we were looking at using machine learning models to predict the outcomes using historical transactions. But with AI agents, we are looking at probably a Rajnikant's movie 2.0 kind of a scenario where you have a bit of virtual agent to solve some of the banking problems. So this agent autonomously performs tasks by leveraging artificial intelligence, and it is designed to sense its environments, interpret data, make informed decisions, and more importantly, the last part, which is very new for us, is execute actions. So when you look at in terms of how machine learning and AI can be perceived in banking and financial services, is we are looking at in terms of can we use it for credit decisioning, can we use it for fraud identification, and so on. But here with the help of AI agents, we can further look at in terms of how we can execute some of the actions. So as you can see in the screen, the AI agent is going to have different components like us as humans. It's going to have abilities, it's going to have goal and preferences, it is going to use prior knowledge, and then it is going to use observations and past experience that the agent has seen. So this diagram can give you a pictorial understanding of what we are calling as an AI agent, and you can directly map some of these abilities or attributes to a human agent that we have today, typically you and me. So when we go one step deep in terms of what is AI agent, the AI agent is going to perform various tasks like what you see in the screen. So it starts with some set goals, and then it's going to help you to create plans. Now, these two set of activities is called as profiling. So there's going to be a profile for the AI agent. And once the plan is created, then we need to make a plan for that particular task. So you might have a big, large set of plan, and the plan need to be decomposed into some executable action, which is what you see as make a plan, and then choose tools and execute plans, right? And this make a plan activity is going to call as planning. And then the next activity of choosing the tools and put the plan into action is going to be the action component of an AI agent. And finally, when the results are checked against the actual values, you're going to have memory. So what you see on the screen, these are the 4 critical attributes or components that you can call for an AI agent. So now this architecture or this taxonomy is going to help banking and financial service to push a lot of boundaries. So for the last decade or more, we were only looking at probably make a plan area where we are looking at using a credit model to choose whether can we offer a loan or not. But the actual act of executing that decision is still with a human. But with AI agents, we are going one step ahead, and we want the AI to take decisions and execute those actions as well. So moving on, there are 5 levels or 6 levels of AI agent. What typically bank have accomplished so far is probably around level 1. Right? And that's what we have seen over the last decade and so on. Now we are pushing the boundaries between level 2 and level 3. And just you can imagine what bank has achieved so much in the last decade by just using agents at level 0 and level 1. And now if we push the technology to be at level 2 and level 3, we can achieve a lot more than what we have accomplished over the last decade or more. So in level 2, we are looking at inductive learning, reinforcement learning based AI, tools, decision making, and then more importantly, memory and reflection. Level 3 agents are going to be LLM-based AI tools. LLM-based AI, then you will have a bit of reasoning ability as well. So it can probably take its own decision, reason its own judgment, and then do the decision and then reflect on the memory. Level 4 is where you typically get into the domain of the sci-fi movies, where you have the bots to kind of do everything on its own, where you can see LLM-based AI with reasoning ability, but more importantly, continuous learning and generalization. So one way to think of this level 4 agent where we can implement in banking and financial services is, can we have a virtual or a robotic cash teller in the branch, where instead of having human to do a repetitive mundane task, can we have a robotic cash teller in the branch who can assist customers who are walking in? And level 5 is a further extension of level 4, but with additional critical aspects as emotion and character, collaborative behavior, and so on. So an emotion and character can be associated with, let's say, what if we create a humanoid bot with an intelligence to become a trade finance expert, or let's say investment banking counselor, right? And that's the frontier that we are looking at as part of level 5. So right now, as you can see, we are at banking and financial services, we are at around level 1 with a lot of risk-based approach, but there are a lot of opportunities for us to push the boundaries and see how we can automate some of the complex tasks that we have. So going further deep into the 5 critical components of AI, so AI agent, you can see in terms of how we can approach towards implementing these components. And this is again a very important perspective that I would like to give, because when you look at theoretical approach looks hunky-dory whenever we see any theory, but putting them in practice is quite difficult. But this particular slide can give you a view or direction in terms of how you can put theory into practice. So in terms of profiling, you can look at 3 different approaches where you can handcraft a profile of an AI agent. An example of handcrafting could be, you can build an AI agent like a chatbot with the help of ChatGPT, who can be a chat assistant for customer service. So now this personas or this profiling can be upfront handcrafted by us, by the subject matter experts. We are looking at LLM-based profiling. We can look at dataset alignment profiling. This dataset alignment profiling could be an example where you want probably an agent to read news articles for your horizon scanning or for your adverse media search when you're looking at credit decisioning and so on. So there probably you want some dataset aligned agents who can look at news articles and look for adverse media news on a particular client that you are looking at offering your loan or any products. So again, planning, you can look at planning without feedback and planning with feedback. An example of a planning without feedback is where you are looking at pathfinding solutions. An example of where you can apply pathfinding solutions in your financial services is looking at identifying cyber frauds, right? Looking at identifying fraud rings or money laundering rings and so on and so forth, where you can look at implementing a planning task without feedback, where you're looking at what are the possible circles of payments that is happening. Action, we can look at two different ways of implementing actions. You can have a targeted action or a strategic action. So in targeted action, you can look at task completion, dialogue interactions, and so on. So in terms of strategic action, you can look at the model or the AI agents to self-reflect on the data and build a strategy and then execute those strategy. So memory, we can look at in terms of short-term memories and long-term memories. An example where your short-term memory and long-term memory can really work well is when you're building algorithmic trading, right? When you want to automatically an AI agent to buy and sell, where you can provide the short-term memory on the intraday trends and patterns of how the stocks are moving up or down. And then you can also look at some long-term trends or patterns in terms of what is the last 3 months historical trend of that particular stock. So you can supply these two memory to the agent for the agent to reflect and take decisions on their own. In terms of memory formats, as you can see, it's quite straightforward. You can provide the memory formats the way you want. It depends on how you profile your agent. So you can provide through natural language, database and structured list, and so on. So finally, the most important thing, because you want your agent to learn, for learning, you have 5 different strategies where you can make the agent to learn with the help of examples. You can make the agent with the help of human annotations. We will see some examples as we go through the slide. We can look at in terms of how the environmental feedback and interactive feedback can be given to the AI agent so that the AI agent can learn. So moving on, now we have seen in terms of the profile, now we have seen in terms of the component. Now what we are seeing here is what are the different types of AI agents, right? And it can start with a simple reflex agent and it can go to the most complex multi-agent system as well. So you have simple reflex, model-based, goal-based, utility-based, learning, and hierarchical. So each of these agent type can be chosen by the organization to determine which agent is more suitable for their particular problem. I've given a few examples for your reference in terms of what we are looking at, but probably I'll draw your attention to multi-agent, which is what probably our level 3 or level 4 AI agents will come into picture, where we are looking at, if you're an Avengers fan, you will know, so you can imagine Ultron to be the multi-agent system. Right, moving on. Now we have seen what the AI agent is. So now what is the grand idea? So how am I going to look at implementing AI agents in terms of redefining the banking and financial services? The grand idea is, what if we have the entire operations of the bank, or in this case, the financial services, be executed by AI agents? And that's the grand idea. So today, if you look at any organization, you have 3 broad work pillars. You have business, then you have operations, and then you have technology. So large NBFCs and large banks will have the operations because their product structuring might be very complex. There will be a lot of customized or personalized product structuring. So there will be a need of operations to take care of those agents, take care of those customers and ensure that there is business continuity. So now, what if the organization structure is visualized in such a way that the org structure is a combination of human agents, typically us, so who are banking and financial experts. And then we have an organization of AI agents as well. So as you can see, I've given an example of a maker agent, and then I've given an example of a checker agent. So you can profile these agents differently and make the agent to do a specific task for your operations. And I've also given some supervisor agent. So this might seem a bit strange, but you can actually profile an AI agent to supervise other AI agents to see whether the AI agents are working in tandem, right? And this includes in terms of aspects that you might be very familiar with. When you're using LLM, it is going to have hallucinations. It is going to have a lot of cyber threats. Now, this AI supervisor, AI agent, can monitor these agents to ensure that these agents doesn't do any mistakes, right? So now what if we reimagine the banking and financial services like this, and it's going to be fantastic, right? But this is going to be a reality in another half a decade or a decade, but it's something that I would like to introduce, and probably it's a food for thought for all of us to go back and reflect. Now, we have seen a lot of conceptual ideas about what is AI agents. Now, where all can we implement these AI agents? First area, of course, intuitively, it's operational efficiencies. how can you implement these AI agents to kind of reduce your cost, increase your throughput, increase your turnaround time, and so on. The second area is automated decisioning. This is another big area because as a banking and financial services, we do a lot of decision making, right from your credit to fraud to transaction approvals, payment approvals, and so on. So you can make the AI agents to do automated decisioning. Co-pilots. So when you have quite complex subject matter expert related tasks, so you can make use of co-pilots. And then marketing and sales, where you can have virtual agents to do sales and marketing for you. Customer service, virtual agents like chatbots, where you can use chatbots for good customer service. Financial advisor, so this is a growing area. You can create an AI agent who's an investment counselor, right, and can provide advices to the customers who are planning to invest on your product. Quality assurance and control. So an example that I've given is the AI supervisors, and then planning and strategy. And then there are many more. So these are just to give you a fair idea on what it is. So this is a particular example that I've taken in terms of marketing and sales, which is quite intuitive for all of us to relate. So on the right hand side, on the left hand side, you can see what is the role of an AI agent in marketing, and there are 9 different roles the AI agent can play in marketing. And on the right hand side, you can see the benefits that the AI agents can bring in. So what is quite interesting is you can have a front-end marketing AI agent, and you can define a role to specifically detect fraud or specifically look at sentiments of the customer. So which is very interesting. So there are no boundaries in terms of how you profile your AI agents when you're looking at marketing and so on. So, and then the key benefits, increased efficiency, customer service, enhanced data analysis, which is quite important for us because we are going to deal with large amount of data. And then personalized services, we have seen that in the previous example where you can create virtual agents and offer personalized services. And then the last one, importantly, is enhanced security. So you can deploy AI agents to ensure your bank is secure, your data is secure, and there is no model theft, or there is no data theft, or there is no any information theft, and so on. So I think with that, I'll end my presentation. I hope you all enjoyed, and this might give you some different perspective in terms of where the world is heading to.